Welcome to all of you. I am Mary of Stampin' Peace with Mary Knabe. I'm coming to you from Westerville, Ohio. That's Central Ohio. Columbus, home of the Buckeyes. We had a good game last night. Started off a little rough, but definitely got better as the game went on. So that was fun. I have a fun card to show you today, and I'll be showing you two techniques while we make that card. Celebration is still happening. We have specials for people who shop, host, and join. So if I can help you with those things, please let me know. I'm always looking forward to building my team. We have a great group of demonstrators who love to share their creativity and their tips and techniques with all of us. We do creative challenges on our Facebook group. You get free PDFs of my classes. So some extra little perks that I provide in addition to those you get from Stampin' Up. And truly, purchasing a starter kit is the best deal you can get. And when you do that now through September 30th, you get to choose a free bundle from our holiday mini catalog. So that's an extra added value. And you don't have to do classes or build a business if you don't want to. Many of the people on my team are what I like to call happy shoppers or happy discount shoppers. They're in it to enjoy the discount, or maybe they just have a couple of friends who purchase from them and help them keep their minimums. So whatever your desire is, I can certainly help you as a member of my Mary Stampers team. All right, I'm going to flip my camera around so that we can get started on today's card with the two techniques I want to show you. They're simple and easy and fun, and I think you're really going to like them. So I'm going to flip my camera around now. And while I'm doing that, if you would share this live video, I would appreciate it very much. Oh, hey, Cheryl, nice to see you. Hi, Donna from Louisiana. Oh, I've got people from all over the place today. Thank you for watching. And thank you for sharing as well. That when you do that, you are inviting more people to share in the fun. So if you were with me on Monday, during Monday's Facebook Live, I showed a card that I got from my friend, demonstrator friend, Joyce Whitman, who was here last week with me for the Stampin' Up! Backstage at Home event for leaders. We had a virtual leadership training for 2+ days. And I cased that card and made some of my own. I'm going to show you today, and I can't do that because I've already mailed them all out. But if you missed that, please look for Monday's Facebook Live. And you can find that under videos here. But this is a card that Susie Brunk made for me. She is my upline, and she was also here on last week for the Backstage at Home event for leaders. And she made this for me. So I thought today we would case this card. And with this, she used that beautiful cork paper. And then she just used some cardstock. I'm going to be using the, let me think what it's called, Beauty of the Earth Designer Series paper. One of my favorites. It's great for year-round, and especially has some nice, fun fall colors for right now as well. But here is my card. So you know that casing means we draw inspiration from the work that, or creativity that others share with us. I want to cut this down a little bit. It seemed a little bit too big. So I'm going to show you that, and then I'm going to show you an easy way to use the gilded leafing, and also how to emboss with any color Stampin' Up! Ink that you have. So first things first, your card base, and this is kind of a fun fold, right? It's not our typical. Let's see if I can put this down a little bit. Okay, I think that will be better. So I'm starting with a piece of cardstock for my base, and this measures 5.5 by 7 inch, 5.5 by 7.25, 5.5 by 7.25. The finished card will be the standard 5.5 by 4.25 inches. So this I'm going to score at 4.25, like I would for a typical size card. And I do have a very vanilla cardstock that measures 5.25 by 4 inches for the inside of my card. Now, I'm not going to stamp a sentiment on the inside because I might use this card for many different things. And until I use it, I'm not going to worry about adding a sentiment to it just yet. I think it would be beautiful. Sympathy card, birthday, thinking of you, just because. A great card for anybody who loves the outdoors. And then I have some other pieces. You're going to want a piece of designer series paper that measures 5.25 by 2.75 inches. 5.25 by 2.75. Now you can see I have two different ones here. This is what I did. I cut it 1.75, and then I had 1 inch left over. So that's what I did. If you have a piece of designer series paper and you don't necessarily want to use both sides, you have a multitude of choices in the Beauty of the Earth designer series paper or any of the others that we have. So it's great to mix and match our products, including designer series papers. So I'm going to, as I said, cut this at 1.75 inches, and I'll be using, if I can pick it up, I'll be using both of these pieces. Okay, I'm just going to flip one over. Now, if you want to change it up and do something like that instead, you can certainly do that as well. Should we change it up just for the sake of it? Because that's what we do, right? All right, so I'm going to add both of these pieces. And when I add them both to this card front, the flap, they're going to be butted right up against each other, just as if it were one piece of designer series paper. Just like that. Oh, I wasn't quite even on that one. Let me see if I can pull it up and scoot it a little bit. That's better. So now I need to move this. I'm in the habit of, when I adhere things, just tapping them down instead of pushing hard. That way, if I need to pick it up and adjust it, I have a little bit of time to do that. Now, I told you I would show you a quick and easy tip with our gilded leafing. And I'm going to use the tear and tape. I want a nice clean cut at the edge. So just cut that with my paper snips. And I'm putting this, make sure I'm in your viewing frame. I'm putting this right along the edge of that larger or wider piece of designer series paper. And I want to go right to the edge of the DSP. So press that down really well, and then you can use the piercing end of your, take your pick tool to pull up the adhesive backing. And now I'm ready to add the gilded leafing. Now, when you get the gilded leafing, it comes in this jar. When you open this, it just kind of will go everywhere. So before you open it, have a container with a lid handy, pour it all in there, and then this is where I keep it. it never goes back in the jar. I always keep it in here and I work with it from the container. So I now have that adhesive stripped down. So I'm just going to tap this into my bowl. You definitely don't want to have a ceiling fan or anything like that going, because this stuff is really light and buttery, I'll say. It almost feels like nothing in your hands, in your fingers. Just really light and smooth and buttery feeling, and it will just kind of go everywhere. Don't sneeze. That will make it go everywhere too. But definitely no fans nearby when you're working with this. And what I like to do is use a makeup brush. This is just a clean, unused makeup brush that I keep in my craft room for this purpose. It stays with this product. Now you can see I've got a pretty nice smooth edge there because the edge of that tear and tape. If there's any places where it's not a nice edge, just go back in and do small brush strokes with that makeup brush. And that will take care of any of those loose edges of the gilded leafing. When you're finished, immediately put the lid on that container. And then that's how I store it. All right. And there are other ways to use that gilded leafing. You can use it with the heat and stick powder. So you can stamp with it. Basically, you would stamp with Versamark. Say this leaf, I would stamp with Versamark, put the heat and stick powder on, heat it with your heat tool, and then dip it into the gilded leafing and brush off the excess. So there's different ways to use it. I find this just a really nice, easy, fun way to use the gilded leafing. It's super easy, it's inexpensive, and look at what a nice, clean embellishment you have for your card. The other thing is it's super thin. It doesn't add any thickness to your cards. So it's also great for mailing. So now I have these two pieces. I have Early Espresso, which measures 2.5 by 3.5 inches. And I chose Early Espresso to match my card base because I thought that looked nice. And then my Very Vanilla is also, let's see, 2.25 by 2.25 by 3.25 inches. So 2.5 by 3.5 and 2.25 by 3.25. Oh, Joan says she has never used this gilded leafing before. Well, I hope that after this demonstration, using it with the tear and tape, that you'll give it a try. Now, I'm going to show you, I want to talk about embossing, heat embossing. You know what? Also, I'll show you where that gilded leafing is in the catalog, because it's actually listed with the embellishments. So gilded leafing can be found on page 143. It's $9 for that jar. That jar is going to last you a long time. So it's a great value. So, but when you're looking for the gilded leafing, it's found with the embellishments. We're going to work with embossing powder and heat embossing for our leaf on the card. Now, our Stampin' emboss powders are sold a little differently now. They come in multi-packs. So one pack contains black, white, and clear, which is what I'm using today. And the other is metallics, gold, silver, and copper. But I wanted you to see where that is, page 128. Okay, so I am using clear embossing powder. But what I want to show you with the clear embossing powder is that you can, in the past, we've done like gold embossing. So you stamp it with, the Versamark and add the gold embossing powder or add the black embossing powder, but it's our embossing powder that is colored. You can use clear embossing powder for any of our ink colors that we have, and I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to stamp this leaf in Mossy Meadow ink, and then I'm going to go over it. I'm going to clean it first. Then I'm going to go over it with my Versamark ink. Remember, Versamark is that special ink we use when we're heat embossing or when we're using the heat and stick powder with our gilded leafing. And I'm going to just stamp over the original image. And then I'm going to go ahead and add, and I want to do it on here, because that way later I can put the excess back into the jar, so I'm not wasting. So I'm going to put that clear embossing powder and move it around so it goes all over the stamped image. Let me set this aside. And now I'm going to heat set this with my heat tool and watch what happens. Now remember, I used Mossy Meadow ink and clear embossing powder. So the purpose of the heat tool is to heat that powder until it melts. And you can see that happening right now. I always think it feels like magic. It's the only kind of magic I can do. Just go around and make sure you got all of it. And you can see it looks shiny, right? That means it's embossed. And it dries very quickly. See? But now you've got that shiny embossed leaf. And I could do this with any of our colors. I could do it with Bumblebee. I could do it with Old Olive, with Cajun Craze, with Early Espresso, Soft Suede, whatever color, Stampin' Up! Color I want to use. I just stamp over it with the Versamark and then use the clear embossing powder. So I think that's a fun trick. Excuse me. I will say that sometimes when I do this technique, I will want to use my Stamparatus. On this leaf, because it's got that artsy design with not perfect lines, I was okay with just stamping over this. But if it were something where it was more a line drawn image, and I want to make sure it's matched up perfectly, in that case, I would use my Stamparatus. Stamp with the color first, and then stamp with the Versamark. Same procedure. I would just be using my Stamparatus instead of the clear block. Does that make sense? Or say, for example, it was letters or a word you stamped, you would want it right on top of the other, right? It would make a difference. So in that case, use your Stamparatus because you're going to get the same placement of the stamp each time. Follow me? Does that make sense to everybody? And then the last thing I'm going to do to put this card together is add it to that card front, that flap. Notice that I'm only putting my dimensionals on one side. I don't want any adhesive that will catch the inside of that card. And then I think I should finish off with some kind of ribbon or tie. On this one, I used that crocheted ribbon and just did a knot. I kind of wish I had put it up higher though. So let me see if I can peel this off. I think I would like it closer to the main part of the leaf. Again, when I add bows or knots, ribbons, trim, I just like to put a single glue dot on the back of the knot. Oh, I like that better, up higher. And let me add some to this. So I'll just do the same thing, make a small knot. And of course, we have lots of different ribbons and trims that would do well on this card. You could even use some of our baker's twine and make a little bow to put on there. We also have, trying to think what it's called. It's the gold and silver cord that is in our holiday mini catalog. That would look neat on there as well. So lots of different choices to make it your own. You could even add some more embellishing to it if you want. All right, what do you think? Is this a card type that you would try? And would you try those 2 techniques? So I showed you 2 techniques. So if you missed, if you weren't on at the beginning, I hope you'll go back and watch the replay so you can catch both of those techniques. But the first one was using our Terran tape along with the gilded leafing. Remember, we talked about the gilded leafing. It comes in the jar, but it's best kept in a container with a lid. And then I also showed you how to heat emboss using any Stampin' Up! Color. Alrighty. Oh, Fran, darn, your phone froze up on you. But I know you. You're going to go back and watch it. You're always, you're a loyal watcher, I'll say. Loyal viewer, and I appreciate that so much. You're also great at sharing this with others, so I appreciate it. So if you would like to win one of these cards, please type in the comments here the word technique. All right, since I showed you 2 techniques, we'll use the word technique. So type the word technique in the comments now, and I will choose a winner to receive one of these pretty cards. And again, the products I used were the gilded leafing, the crocheted trim, or is it called crocheted trim? Oh, it's diamond weave ribbon. I wasn't even close. Diamond weave ribbon, but it is crocheted in my book. And then I also used the Beauty of the Earth Designer Series paper. All right. Then Versamark and clear embossing powder. All right. It looks like many of you, all of you, would like to receive one of these cards. So I will be choosing a winner shortly. I apologize for not doing a Facebook Live on Wednesday, and I'm just going to be honest and say I wasn't sick or anything, but just feeling kind of blah or blue this week. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it Wednesday. Like, what has happened? Nothing's happened. Why do I feel this way? And it dawned on me. Yesterday would have been 5 years since we lost my mom. And I think that just was weighing on me. And I've been thinking about her even more than usual. I think because of my daughters. It's a big year ahead for us. Emily will be graduating from grad school in physical therapy. So proud of her. And I'm enjoying my time with her because she's staying with me right now while she does a clinical for Ohio State. And then Andrea getting married. And I just would love to be able to tell my mom and my dad too about all that's going on with my family. So that's kind of hard. My dad died young, so he didn't know my children. But I know he would be very proud of them. And Mom did know them. We got to live near Mom when the girls were younger, and that was so nice. So I'm just being real and being honest and saying, kind of just needed a mental health day on Wednesday. But thank you for understanding, and thank you for coming back to view my Facebook Live today. I appreciate you all. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.